And welcome to the castle, everybody. This is Nightsaber Z42, and this is part 2 of my Loresmyth Remarkable PDF series, where I'm going to review the ultimate guide to remarkable shops and their wares. A very fantastic book that details some very interesting shops, and of course, their wares. So let's go ahead and see what there is to be seen for this book. Remarkable Shops and Their Wares was written by Alex Klippinger, Elf Vasala, J.V.C. Perry, and Richie Lewin, with artwork by Tai Nguyen, Jens Kuchwara, Natasha Von Gestil, Daniel Commercy, and Jack Badashki. Sorry about mispronouncing that. And it was published in 2020. Now, I was actually a backer of this particular book. I got my copy last spring, an actual physical copy, and then I made a purchase over DriveThru when I realized that I didn't get a PDF version. I just got the physical copy. So, oops on my part. But anyways, this is Remarkable Shops and Their Wares. Kind of like a pseudo-sequel to Remarkable Inns and Their Drinks. This book is broken into 4 different chapters with 2 appendices. We start with Chapter 1, the Remarkable Shops. So just like with Remarkable Inns, Remarkable Shops will list a series of shops that you can just plug right into your world. We start with the Thunderspire Forge. Located in a frozen land where ice storms are plenty and avalanches are common. Just getting here could probably kill you. There's an owner, artisan, an artificer, and, well, I'm kind of really confused. I think it's a manager and a forge smith. That's the real showstopper right there, is the Forge Master, a 30-foot tall storm giant. And look at that manly beast with a giant hammer and then wolf upon his shoulder. That's just really cool. Really am digging that this style has returned, like this art style has returned from Remarkable Inns. Now, instead of remarkable drinks or foods, this book has exclusive items. So there are 6 exclusive items for sale at this particular location. You have the Thunder Maul, the Lightning Blade, the Shield of Resistance, the Bottle Lightning, Charged Boots, and then the Blitzfang is actually a legendary great axe that you can get from Axozan Bricor. Just listen to that name. I actually had to pause just to say it, just so I could think about it. Really cool. He's also he's the only notable patron of this joint. So there you go. This shop also closes with 3 different rumors. Just like from Remarkable Inns, they could serve as plot hooks or serve as side quests of a sort. We also have the Bazaar of Marcoon. Really love these titles. I really suck at naming, so these interesting sounding names are just like the bee's knees to me. So, this bazaar is located in the Sands of Despair, but away from the main city and out of its jurisdiction, so no taxes, whoop whoop. This area actually comes with a random event chart just for being here. Like, you roll on a D10 every hour that you're here, and something can happen to you. So, yeah, don't linger there too long, because, you know, thieves are going to want to try to jack your stuff. There are 3 merchants listed, one of which is a catfolk. Kind of wish there was a picture to go with that. I really would have loved to have seen that, but, I mean, how can you just, like, not look away from a barbarian muscly man here with, like, a giant gecko or, what is it, lizard type thing? I mean, if I try to hold that, my arm would just drop. That thing looks way heavy. So, anyways, this bazaar does have some unique items with it, like a spirit scarab, a scepter of supremacy, death mask, and a winterwolf talisman, obsidian scorpion, the sanguine ankh, as well as 3 different rumors and secrets. I really like that the formatting is consistent all the way through. There's a picture, there's the mechanical blurb at the beginning. It is very consistent, and not at all like a mess. Each one of these places will actually have a picture associated with it, so I know what it looks like in my mind and I can better describe it to my players. Thank you so much. It's a big improvement over Remarkable Inns. This, the Old Mill, is one of my personal favorites. I've actually adapted this location specifically to my Humblewood campaign. Although I did have to change the owners' races so that they could be like furries, basically. So you have the innkeeper who actually has, or sorry, not the innkeeper, you have the shop owner who actually has his own blurb. And the NPCs are very unique here. Like you have Greta Blom here, who will totally bash you over the head with a bottle if you ever get out of line. She's the barkeep. Then you have Wickleflit, the halfling jester, who's actually a really sad case if you read his backstory. And then, of course, you have the half dragon wizard. Like, not a dragonborn, but like a half dragon. Yeah, a half dragon. This place does have some available wares, like the trickster sticks and the box of bounties. And then it also has weekly exclusives. So every week that your players come here, they roll. You can roll on this D10 chart, and then that would be the week special. After which there's no more. Although it might have some returning stock. Depends on how frequent my players actually come. And of course, there are 4 rumors and/or secrets. Now, I've actually adapted this into my own game. I really like the fact that there's a monthly auction, so that way the prices are also varied. And this really serves as a general store, a general adventure store in my world. And every month there's new stock with the monthly auction. So my players are incentivized to come here once a month, so I don't blow through this entire chart in like one game or something like that. Next, we have the Undersea Archive. Aside from my iPad autocorrecting it to Underwear Archive when I was typing this outline out, the theme of this location is actually really unique. If your player should ever explore the depths of the undersea, then you'll definitely want this place. Now, unfortunately, there's very little to say here. The owner and the staff are really unique. I mean, there's an ancient kraken wizard, a non-binary merfolk scholar, and a crustacean warrior veteran. That's really cool. That's kind of it, though. This isn't really much of a shop, more than a trade in a very specific thing. You see, this shop trades in memories, and I really don't know how best to explain that. You don't really get anything here. You trade in memories. That seems... I don't know. Okay, here are my thoughts on this. This whole shop just seems really out of place to me. If anything, this seems like it belongs in an actual adventure. Like, not in a book like this. It belongs in an adventure, like with its own plots and hooks and stuff like that for my characters to go through, not just as a little blurb on this Remarkable Shops page, which I really find disappointing that there's really not much from incentive for my players to go here unless it's integral to whatever plot that they are doing. So I really feel like this shop in specific is wasted with that. Next, we have Grimble & Sons Tinkerlings. The Grimble & Sons airship is perhaps the largest floating enterprise in the multiverse. Crewed by a staff of several dozens, the regal airship resembles the Grand Galleon with an enormous glowing glass globe, gilded with spiraling gold at its very center. Can you tell that these guys really like the letter G? The body of the ship is an infusion of fine varnished wood and gleaming exotic metals, all maintained by the ever-present mist of monocopters, flying glass orbs with mechanical wings that whiz and whir. The monocopters also deliver Grimble & Sons prime merchandise, mechanical inventions that the staff call Tinkerlings. This is perfect if you're running something like Eberron, or where like fantasy meets science fiction, or like steampunk. This is really cool. And the shop owner gets his own special blurb here, which, my thoughts on how the innkeepers sometimes got their own blurbs. I really wish that they had the titles listed in with the character. That's just my thing, though. But as I was reading through this, I actually realized just how diverse this cast of characters that's in this book really is. Like, there's a non-binary elemental host, which, by the way, is the most unique and iconic member of this entire shop. Why does he not have his own special blurb? I really like the fact that this book really brings out the diversity. It's not just, your typical elf and human races, or even your main genders like male and female. There's actually non-binary characters, and we'll see some more later in this book too. Despite the cool airship trope, unfortunately, there really isn't much here. Although there are a couple of exclusive items like the Spying Eye, the Metal Guardian, the Disarmatron, and the Heroman's Cane, All-Seeing Visor, Calico Sphere of Holding, and the Gravitas Gauntlet, which actually sounds like a pretty cool name, if I'm going to be honest. But there's just really just a lot of fluff and not a whole lot of substance for me. Then you have the Sheer Dread. Like Remarkable Inns, there's going to be at least one roguish shop. And this one actually requires a code phrase, just like with the King's Coin from Remarkable Inns. In fact, there's 19 code phrases. I kind of find it really weird that they couldn't just like make it even with a 20, but oh well, it's not a rollable chart, so I can't really complain them for that. And basically, you utter the phrase, give them the payment, and there's a service that goes with each one, like performing an assassination, or smuggling, or thievery. So that's really cool. I like the fact that it's not just one code phrase fits all. There's a code phrase for a specific type of service. So you can't just abuse the system. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I really like that. This place is actually a barber shop. It's a famous barbershop owned by the unnerving halfling Guillemort Baldgrim. Very interesting name, by the way, for a barber. And so the special products are actually haircuts and tonics. Like the emotive ointment, your hair will actually stand up depending on your emotions. That's really cool. And the bloody beard oil, which is actually something I probably need in real life because, yeah, this beard is getting a little long and shaggy. Anyways, there's some odds and ends, which they couldn't just name it as some exclusive items, but okay. Giuseppe's fine silverware, ember marbles, Guillemot's razor, the masterworker artful gloves, all of these of which are indicative of the theme for this place, haircuts and stuff like that. Although it really would have been nice to see something other than hair in this place, because in medieval times, barbers were not just your haircut places. They were like your dentists and surgical places to get minor surgeries and stuff like that. So it would have been really nice to have seen something a little bit like that here. Of course, there are 3 notable patrons and 3 rumors and secrets to serve as plot hooks. We have the House of Harmony, a place of performance. It's kind of like the Cirque du Soleil, but as a shop. I found this place quite interesting in that while the shop's wares may be really expensive, especially for novice bards or performers, you can actually perform on this elevated stage where the entire area, where it actually amplifies your whatever sound you're making to the whole entire area. And whatever tips you get can actually be used as down payment for whatever item that you're looking to get. I kind of would consider this to be like a bazaar type shop area, which is really cool because then I could have like a whole variety of different magic items coming in at like different times. But I really like that this is rather really unique and very specific towards bards. Of course, we have musical wares, musical instruments like the stringed axe, which is actually something I invented a long time ago when I was in college playing 4th edition. I actually had a dragonborn split personality bard who actually had this loot axe, is what I called it. And he actually had it until he was gobbled up by a dragon, loot and all. Never did get it back with my warden, my giant warden from my as my next character, but oh well. Then we have the look sharp loot, the blades aid, the sonnets from the ninth, elegies of lost epochs, gallant garments, the rope walker's boots. I just want to say I really do like the fact that some of these are way up there in price. I like things like that. It just means that it's something that my players can actually work towards. You know, they may be rich, but there's always something that that's out of their reach. I really like that. The House of Riddle, or sorry, the House of Harmony is actually known for this infamous riddle, which is actually in the title of the place, and it actually just points towards towards lost treasure, a secret treasure stashed away in some grave or something like that. And it's actually one of the 3 rumors here. Of course, what's in the grave is actually up to the GM to decide. So it actually could be something quite useful if your players are looking for it. We have the Emporio Verdantis. This is actually another one of my personal faves, and I actually adapted this into my Humblewood campaign as well. The Emporio Verdantis serves as a pharmacy of sorts, and it just kind of sells your run-of-the-mill potions of healing, antitoxin, animus elixirs, and healers kits. And it's also got some special services, but I could tell you right now, if you're one of my players and watching this, you are not going to be resurrecting a dead character in this game. Not that easy, not for 2,000 gold pieces, especially with the economy that I've put, because I suck at economics, and they probably already have 2,000 gold per character at, what, 5th level right now? Yeah, no, not going to happen. And actually, can we take a moment? So, how is growing a limb way more expensive than resurrecting a dead character? Like one body part versus the entire person. Although I guess you can say, oh, but really, what if their arm is missing when they're dead? Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Then spend another couple grand just to regrow that limb. I think resurrecting should be way more than what is listed here, but that's just my 2 cents, honestly. There's 4 listed staff workers here, one of which is a non-binary Fey Touch Druid, which I'm really glad they included a picture of, like just a Fey person in general. I'm really glad they included a Fey person, and a mushroom person, and a satyr. That's really cool. Look, there's a mushroom guy right there. I told you it was a mushroom. Anyways, aside from the 1 patron, the shop closes with 4 different rumors, of which sound like one of which can actually sounds like it could be the beginning of a major quest, the poisoning the well, because this whole place gets its healing properties from a well, a healing well, which is really cool. So in the 2nd chapter, we have bringing your shops to light. Just like with Remarkable Inns, this chapter is about the mechanics that were listed at the beginning with each shop. Now, I won't go over all of these in extensive detail as I did kind of with my Remarkable Inns review, but you do have the same ones like wealth and prices, as well as the tables for poor establishments and rich establishments. You have currencies, which is something that I never really thought of before. But what if a shop doesn't take coins? Well, there's alternative currencies that they could take, like animal pelts and furs. And there's actually 20 different currencies that could really make your shops that much more interesting. And actually, in my Humblewood game, the main magic shop that my players have access to does not use currency, like an actual money currency. Instead, you trade magic items for magic items, which isn't listed here, but I actually really do appreciate that they have a blurb as well as some examples for different ways that your players can trade for things. Because let's be honest, your players are going to get rich unless you know how economics works, which I don't. Then you can keep them poor forever, or at least in the middle class. let's just say. But my players are pretty rich, and can probably buy like anything and everything, which is why I have it so that they can build stuff on their mana that they have, or that they can't just buy magic items. They actually have to trade for that. So that's a great way of kind of keeping your players in check, let's just say. So there's also authority levels as well as influence that was in the Remarkable Inns, as well as disposition. All of this works the exact same way. I'm glad that they have the same systems in both books. That way there's like, you know, something in one book that isn't in the other. And I like how they did take the time to explain it in case I didn't have Remarkable Inns. There's security, awareness, although this time around you roll on a table that's specific to shops instead of inns for the unfortunate events. There's benefits to low security stores, and there's also a new section on supply and demand, which is actually really interesting. I really like that they do say that there is supply and demand, and there's actually like some events that can happen that would affect that. That's really cool. I really do appreciate this section, even though mechanically there isn't much to it. It's just saying, hey, this is what happens, this can affect that. That I really do like, because that's actually something that's new, something I never would have thought of. And it actually does have a table with events to kind of help you along that way, and like what their effects are. Then we have the remarkable wares. Instead of remarkable foods and drinks, you have different items. Here are some different shops that can be in your world. So if your players are looking for something specific, this chart will help you into fleshing out a specific building. So like if you're looking for a scroll, you're going to go to the library. If you're looking for a certain spice, you go to the herbalist. If you're looking for cures and antidotes, well, that could also go to the apothecary. Okay, they also have different side businesses that are potential for those, like the pawnbroker. You can have stolen and illicit goods for your thief character that just likes to steal everything and anything. There are special services for that you can plug into some of your locations, or just in general to have around in your town. And then you have peculiar potions, which are rather unique, like the potion of percussion. When you drink this potion, you gain the uncanny ability to maintain a tempo and are able to drum like a professional. This potion lasts for 1 hour. My God, I wish I had this for all of my kids at school, because you have no idea how off tempo some of those kids can be. And I'm a music teacher, so I can say that proudly. I really like this next section, mounts and familiars. Not because of mounts and familiars, because that's probably done up the wazoo in Tasha's cauldron of everything right now. But the fact that there's equipment for those mounts, barding and gear that you can get, and magical bardings too, like barding +1 or +2, adamantine barding, ethereal anklets, lightning hooves, Chan Fron of intellect. Really cool stuff. Also pets. Yeah, go to Tasha's for that. Amazing armor and outfits and weapons. Just some more magical weapons and armor to put into your world if you would like to. This is actually going right into my collection of magical items that I roll randomly for my magic shop. So this is really cool. Also, mythical Doom Hammer, 25,000 GP. That's not going to be found in the woods anytime soon. You also have some outfits and clothing, tomes, from angels to zombies, like that title, as well as curses. So if you should read a cursed tome, just roll on a d20 and you get a random curse. So there you go. Kind of wish that there was the same thing, but for the weapons or armor. But hey, I guess I could take this into any one of these and put them into the armor, or attach them to an armor or a weapon, I guess. You have magical instruments like the Pipes of the Dead, the Dragon's Breath Whistle, which, oh my gosh, I know one of my players is going to be all after that one now that I say that. The Dulcimer of Growth, the Flute of Flight, the Hammer Tone Lute, Chromatic Lyre. Yeah, Horn of Plenty. You have some minor magic items, and that's it. So you have Chapter 3 devoted to player-operated stores. This is kind of like a condensed down version of Acquisitions Incorporated, and I really mean condensed because that whole book was pretty much just for having a business and running it. This is way more condensed, but if you should want to build your own place, first you need to start with a store type, and here's how much it's going to cost. Now, you do not actually have to pay this up front, although you can. But if you do not, then some bad stuff can happen. But before I get there, I'll actually detail like how to determine the price. So first, you start with your store type, like Alchemist. It's going to cost 10,000 gold pieces. Okay. So is the store going to be tiny, small, medium, large, or huge? Depending on how big you want it to be or how small, it's going to affect the overall build cost. So minus 25% for a tiny, like stuff like a cart or wagon, to plus 25% of the build cost for huge multi-floor workshops and stores. We're talking like JC Penney's and Macy's right here. Then you have the store location that can also bump it up an extra 25 or 40%, or could even bump that down if you're in a rural location. Is the population diverse? Add another 10%. Whoops. Is it in a war zone? Hey, take 20% off of that. We like people to sell stuff in the middle of a war. So once you have your total building costs figured out, you're going to move on to the building phase. Now, this is going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm looking at you, my players who want to build a stable for 5 different griffins in like 1 hour. No, doesn't happen. It's going to take time. And if you didn't pay up front the entire cost, something bad can happen. Roll a d12, and one of these things will happen each month. That's right. Once a month, you roll this, and something can happen. And I really do like this. And I think it was also expanded upon in Acquisitions Incorporated with rivals and stuff like that. But this is a condensed down version. So like the forest gnomes supplying you with timber were attacked by a hydra and are demanding compensation. So now the characters must pay a 100 gold piece fee. And this could be something like a local wizard takes pity on the tired workers by giving them assistance with a levitate spell. Now the building time is reduced by 3 months. So it's not all bad stuff. So there you go. You have operating your store, how to calculate how much you're making, taxes, and all of that. Don't fail. Also, you know, the number one business rule, it's like college. You don't want to accrue all that debt and then fail and then be nothing. But then I guess since you're an adventurer, you can just like run away. I guess that's a thing. But let's be honest, you'll be in debt forever and somebody's always going to want that money back. And then we have, wait a minute. This is chapter 4, creating your own shop. Is this even its own chapter? Didn't even have like the fancy splash page before it. Like I honestly didn't even know I hit a new chapter when I was actually reading this for the first time. And then I was like, wait a minute, is this its own chapter? I thought it was its own chapter. This is chapter 4, and it doesn't even say chapter 4. It just goes right into it. Look, that's how serious these guys are. Actually, I really don't like this at all. It's very unprofessional, and I really, it just hurts my mind just going back and looking at it. Anyways, these are a list of rollable tables for creating and detailing your own shops. Just like in Remarkable Inns, it's kind of like the same thing. Honestly thought when I just looked at this, it said crayons, hewn bricks made out of crayons. No. But it's just pretty much like what you would find in Remarkable Inns. It's just you roll, or you can pick, just to kind of build and flesh out your own shops. Not player-operated shops, mind you, because we've already discussed that. These are shops that you can put into your world that are run by NPCs. You have decorations, atmosphere, the condition of the shops, any furnishings, memorable features. There's a lot of features, 100. And then we get to the appendices. Appendix 1 is creating custom staff. Just like how in Remarkable Inns, there was a section on creating your own innkeepers and staff for that. This one actually has its own appendix books, which I am actually very appreciative that it's its own separate chapter-like section. Really, now that I think about it, that really turned me off when I was reading Remarkable Inns. Just the whole layout and how things could have been so much better. They definitely learned this time around, and I really do appreciate that. So these are just rollable tables that you can use to help flesh out any shopkeepers or innkeepers. I think I might have used one of these at one point. Then, of course, you have the staff with the roles, what they are doing at any given time when your NP or players meet them, as well as their attitude and any store customers that might be wandering or browsing at the same time as your players. Because I don't know about you, but I always put in some NPCs while my players are trying to have that important conversation about, seeing the goods in the back type of deal. Yeah, I always put some free listeners that are just wandering around. And then you have quirky twists, which is pretty funny. Then you have appendix number 2, which is creating custom items, which I don't know if I'm ever really going to use this, but I am kind of glad it's here. Basically, this is like for creating an item and then giving it an enchantment of some sort. What's it made out of? How much does it cost? And stuff like that. I just don't really care much for this section. It just seems tacked on a little bit. I mean, I know that it's kind of extensive, but I would not really want to do that, to do this. I think I would just rather find an item or carefully craft something that's been place tested at least 50 games before I give it to my players. I'm just being facetious right now. I don't know. I'm probably never really going to use this. And of course, the last section is the shop floor plans. I really do appreciate the fact that this time around, you get all of these shop plans for each of the shops. Not just 3 out of the 9, but for each one. Although I don't really know if this constitutes as a shop floor plan because it's just a bubble. Just kidding. There's actually reasons for why that is. But I really do like that this is in the PDF here, and it's got some of its own artwork. That's actually really funny. Just really nice that it's actually in digital form, although I kind of really wish that it had its own separate files like JPEG so I can actually put them into my Roll20 games if I wanted to use them. But there's, of course, workarounds for that if you know how to work PDFs. The book closes off with the open game license and a big thank you, as well as the back cover. So, what do I think of this book? What are my final thoughts? Overall, this is a very nice upgrade from Remarkable Inns in terms of formatting and content. The previous book, Remarkable Inns, let me take a quick gander, has about 87 pages total. Remarkable Inns has 112 pages. I really like that there's more here. Like, there's floor plans, there's more stuff, artwork in the actual shops themselves. The fluff text is actually on par with the Remarkable Inns, so I really don't feel like it's lacking in that department. The more interesting NPCs actually do have artwork, which was one really big complaint that I had with Remarkable Inns. And I didn't really talk about this with Remarkable Inns because this was a review of the PDF copy, but I will mention it here. The print quality for Remarkable Shops is way better than Remarkable Inns. With Remarkable Inns, you get like this sturdy paper, I guess. But the binding on this book is just horrible. Here, I will actually show you what I mean. So this is Remarkable Inns. It's actually bigger than Remarkable Shops, which, if you heard me correctly, this book actually has less pages by about 34 pages than this book, which has 112 or something like that. So this book is actually bigger because of the paper quality. I mean, the paper quality seems sturdy, yes, but the binding is horrible. This is like glue bound And some of the earlier pages, and this just could be a flaw with my copy, I will admit that, but look at that. From the first few pages, you can definitely see the inside, like the margins for the actual cover. You don't get that with Remarkable Shops. First off, the stitch is actually an actual stitch. It's not glue bound, if I'm not mistaken, because I did see some stitches here. There we go. So there you go. You got some stitches right there, some actual bindings, which I really do like. When I put it flat on its surface, the pages actually stay there. Unlike with Remarkable Ends, it always wants to close. I can't get that sucker to stay down. So the paper quality for Remarkable Shops is better in my opinion. It's like a glossy type material, which I really do appreciate. I really like that this book is just about as big as of improvement over every aspect from the previous complaint that I had. Currently, the Remarkable Shops is $15.99. I don't think I've ever seen this on or at a discount, while Remarkable Ends is actually $11.99. So there you go. And overall, I think that if you're looking for more material for your shops, magic items, just some magic items, or you're just wanting to create your own shops, like rollable tables for helping to create your own shops, then this is an excellent supplement for your collection. Now, I know I've bashed on Remarkable Ends a lot. I really do love that book, but I do have to take note that, sometimes the things that we love, there are flaws with them. And I'm glad that the people at Loresmyth kind of saw a way to improve upon a product line that they are invested in, and they decided to make those improvements. I didn't really know much about Loresmyth before when there was just Remarkable Ends, but I can tell you that I am a big fan of their stuff, and I'm probably going to keep investing in them because they do turn out some really great products. And this is always going to be hanging up on my shelf of 5th edition supplements. Although, to be honest, this isn't just exclusive to 5th edition. This can be used in any system to help you build a shop or flesh it out with some interesting NPCs and even some magic items, just for fluff detail and stuff like that, without the mechanics. Even the Remarkable Ends could be used to that purpose as well. Again, it's like the Tome of Adventure Design by Michael J. Finch. It's for any system, but it's used for helping you flesh out what you need it to flesh out. And in this case, the niche category is shops. And I really do like that, and I really appreciate that. And so I definitely highly recommend this book to anyone who really wants it, especially for the price. I mean, come on. That's like a steal right there. Anyways, if you found this review to be informational, I don't know what to say anymore, please consider leaving a comment or giving this video a huge thumbs up to support the series and the channel and to make me feel good. And consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. My aim is to have a new review at least every other week, although let's be honest, it's probably going to be every week for the time being because I have a lot of PDFs and physical tomes to look through and to review. So thank you for your time, and I will see you guys in the next video.